So we're going to make a couple of changes to our BlinkRGB program that we've already made. This is going to get us closer to how we want our program to look for the entire project. So we've got to make some extensions. So first thing we want to do is we actually would like to be able to put these pin numbers in an array. And an array is just a list of numbers, so that we can step through that list as we want to change the colors. So first thing that we're going to do is define a couple more constants. We'd like to define the number of colors, so I don't have to keep remembering that there are 3 colors. Well, colors, it's not really hard to remember, but if we want to change that, we want to be able to change that only in one place. Okay, so now I have a number of colors defined, and I actually want to also define numbers for positions in the array. So I want to be able to say, okay, if I say the first position in an array, I want that to refer to red. So I'm going to define red to equal 0. That means that the first time when I call red, I want it to look at the first position in an array. So this is the position in an array for the red pin. And I can do the same thing for green and blue. I'll just copy and paste. Okay, now I can define an array, which is just that list of color pins, so I can group all of my color pins together. So constant meaning that it's not going to change. And the way we define an array is we name it, and then we tell it how many items or things are going to be in the array, and then we tell it what's in the array. So my name of my array is color pins. I'm going to call it color pins. No, call it color pin. And it has n colors items in it. And n colors, we already told it was 3, so it's got 3 items in it. And in my array, I'm going to put red pin, green pin, and blue pin, and close it with a curly brace, and end the row with a semicolon. So this is just saying, in my array, there are the numbers that are, we've already told it, are red pin, green pin, blue pin, so this array would have the numbers 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so that's my list of my color pins. Okay, now I want to be able to, instead of having all of these digital write commands, I want to define a function that performs that operation. So I do that before I do setup. So here I'm going to define a new function, and we're going to call this color on. So it's going to tell the computer how to turn the color on. And this void over here, again, that just means that I'm not going to receive any information from this this function. But I do need to give it some information. So the thing that it's going to expect is color. So I'm going to tell it what color I want to turn on. So I say, so here's what I expect from the function, the name of the function, and then what I'm going to give to the function. And then we open with a curly brace and close with a curly brace. So to turn, we've already figured out what this means, you know, what this command is, and it's our digital write command that we're used to. And instead of putting, you know, red pin or green pin in here, I'm just going to put color, because it's going to say, what color did you want to turn on? Okay, I know what color it is, and so I'll use that color that you tell me to turn on, and we want to write it high to turn that color pin on. Okay. Whoops. So I actually want to say, I need to tell it to look in the array for the color. So if I had just said digital write of color, and I'm going through and passing color, then I would be looking at, oh, whoops, there's a good bug fix. We got to go 0, 1, and 2 up here. So if I were just going to tell it color, then it would be looking at pins 0, 1, and 2. So I have to have it look at the array, so color pin of color. So when I send it red, it's going to look in the first, or the 0th position, and it'll see red pin, and then it'll turn 9 on. So now I've got that to turn a color pin on. I can do the same thing to turn a color off. And instead of a digital write high, I will digital write low to turn a color off. Now I've just taught my computer what I mean when I say turn a color on, and what I mean when I say turn a color off. So now I can go down here and say, instead of this digital write, I can just say color on of red. And here I can say, to turn it off, color off red. So that will turn on the color red and then turn off the color red. And I can copy and paste that for green and blue, and just change this to green and this to blue, and then I can do the same thing with the color off. Okay, so now I can try this out. We'll save it and upload it, and I should see the same red, green, blue, and then white. And now I can adjust this down here and change this from the digital write statement to my new function, color on. And now this just makes this a little bit more readable. And every time I have a function, I can, or every time I want to turn a light off or on, I can use my function. This is a more preferred way to code. Whenever I have repeated statements, that's a flag that I want to make sure that I use a function. Okay, whoops, so I want to turn these off, not on. Okay, so I'm turning all 3 colors on and then all 3 colors off. And then at the very end of my loop, it's always good practice to set that LED pin back as an input so we don't accidentally drive current backwards through the LED pin. So just so that we can see a change, I'm going to comment out blue. So we'll have red and green on, which should give us yellow. So let's save that and upload it to the Arduino, and then we can see we're getting red, green, blue, and then yellow. So that's just a little bit of an extension to our BlinkRGB lesson to get us even closer to what we're going to be doing for our project.